Hi, it's Mrs. Ramira, and I just want to do a quick overview on check numbers. So a check number is the remainder after dividing a number by 9. The quick way that you can find it is by adding all the digits up in a number. So for example, we add 9 plus 3 plus 6 by 7. Now because we're dividing by 9, nines are going to be considered zeros with our check number because there's no remainder when you divide by 9. So I'm going to continue to add 6 and 3. Well, that gives me 9 again, which again gives me no remainder, so that's 0. And then so I'm left with 7. So the check number for this one is 7. For this number here, I can add the digits 8 and 5. Well, that gives me 13. But again, we are dividing by 9. What's the remainder when you divide by 9? And so if I divide by 13 by 9, my remainder is going to be 4. And then I have my other 4 here. So my check number is going to be 8. To find the check number for this last number, I'm going to add my digits, but again, this really is 0 because there's no remainder when you divide by 9. And I have 6 left over. So my check number is 6. So I write the check number next to the numbers in the operations. And the reason why we use check numbers is to see if we performed the operation correctly. This should be a true statement, and if it is, then chances are we performed it correctly. So if I look at 7 plus 8, that gives me 15. Well, again, remember we're dealing in terms of 9. So if I were to take 15 divided by 9, my remainder would be 6. And yes, that is what we get. And so without having to go back and redo this whole problem, I can see, okay, I checked it and I think I did it correctly. And just a quick side note, if you do add up all the digits all at once and get 25, you can also just then do 25 divided by 9. And you can do it this way and get the remainder, which is 7. So we still get a check number of 7. So you can go through, if you want, how I did before and cross out all the 9s and make them 0. Or if it's easier for you, add up all the digits and then go ahead and divide that sum by 9. And you take the remainder, and then that's going to be your check number. So another quick example, 125 times 10. I went ahead and solved it, so let's see if I did it correctly. We're going to check it using check numbers. So I add the digits together. 1 plus 2 plus 5. That gives me 8. So my first check number is an 8. For the second one, I add 1 and 0, and that gives me 1. So my second check number is 1. And then for my answer, I'm going to add these digits, and that gives me 8 again. And to check my answer, I say, okay, 8 times 1, does that give me 8? Yes, it does. So I checked it, and I know that I have the right answer. So now, real quick, I'm going to show you how to play A63, which is the check numbers game. I took out all the 10s from my basic number deck, and then I took about half the deck to play this game. And to set it up, you want to deal to each player 4 cards. So the goal of this game is to practice finding the check number. So person number 1 has their 4 cards, and they take 2 cards from the pile, and we start a row. You look at the 2 numbers, and you add the digits to find the check number. So 5 plus 5 is 10. When I divide that by 9, the remainder is 1. And so I look at my cards. I don't have a 1, so I can't play the check card. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a random card to the row. And then I draw a card from the pile, and my turn is over. It's the next player's turn. The next player has 4 cards as well. They look at the row that's been started, and we find the check number. So 5 and 5 is 10, which we said leaves 1 left over when you take out 9. And then you have plus 4. So the check number here is 5. So I look over, and hey, I have a 5. So I get to finish out the row, and I collect the cards, and I'm going to start a new row, and then draw a card, because you always want to end with 4, and it's the next player's turn. So the next player looks and says, okay, 7 plus 4, that gives me 11. If I take away 9, because I'm dividing by 9 each time and I want the remainder, so I have 2, and so I look at my hands, I don't have a 2, so again, I randomly take a card, I add it to the row, and I flip a card from the deck. So we continue in this fashion until all the cards are gone. So hopefully this helps you out. Please email me if you have any questions.